Assalamu alaikum everyone. Am I audible? Hello.
Yes, Alhamdulillah, you're audible, Sister Nisha.
Inshallah, we will start in a minute. So, Rabbi Shahli Sidri wa Sidli Amri wa Hlul Uqdatam min Lisani yafqahu qawli. I'm Anisha and I'm working as a counseling psychologist. So it feels great to be a part of ITFI and it feels great to represent such a wonderful topic today. Thank you, Sister Fatima, for giving me this opportunity to be able to represent this. Inshallah, we will start this. So, Assalamu alaikum everyone. Today we will be talking about parent-child communication. And before we talk about it, I'll just give an overview of what we will be talking today. So, we will be talking about tarbiyah. I'll just give a glimpse of it today. Then, how to connect with our children, the connection with children, why it is so much crucial to do so. Then, behind the behaviors, a, a bit of pulse check, a positive parenting tools, and then we can end it with a Q&A session, inshallah. So, uh, when we are talking about communication and particularly parenting communication, it's important to understand what parenting means and what parenting means in Islam and why it is so different from other fields of parenting and why we need to focus on the concept of parenting on tarbiyah. So the word tarbiyah, as you can see, has been taken from the root word Arab. And as we know, the wonders of Arabic language, the root word of Arabic shows a profound meaning, right? So, tarbiyah means to take care or maintain someone or something. And here we are for our children in the same way, or we are for our children as the same as our Creator, our Rabbul Alameen, is for us. So, just like how Allah take cares of us, nourishes us, protects us, supports us when we are nothing or very insignificant in nature. Similarly, our parents also supports us, nourishes us, protect us, and help us to grow. So there is this one definition given by one scholar which says to cause something, tarbiyah means to cause something to develop from stage to stage until reaching its completion. It's like we are uh, helping the child to develop from sitting up, from walking, and then from running. And that's the role that a parents play in a child's life, helping the child to develop from one stage to another. Now, it's very important to understand when we are talking about purpose of communication in tarbiyah, what is the purpose of tarbiyah in itself? As you can see this triangle, it really emphasizes that parents are like a connector for the children to Allah. The way we are communicating things to our children, it is giving a very vital uh, detail of Allah as well, of their creators as well. As we know that the purpose of tarbiyah plays a massive role in our children's life. Our children is like a manna given to us from Allah, and it's very important. Allah has mentioned this, and even in Quran, in quite a lot of times, like uh, the responsibility of raising a children holds a lot of uh, power and lots of uh, status in itself. So our children is like a manna; it's a gift given to us, and before our children is our children, they are the makhluk of Allah. And before anything else, you have to understand the two child of yours or one child of yours. As you're looking at them, you realize that they are the amana given to us. They are the children of Jannah. And the power of language you are using to communicate with your child plays a huge role in their settling a position in Jannah. So it's very important to understand why it's it's crucial to communicate in a right way when we are raising our child. So, the process of communicating our values and our needs to them need to be pondered upon, and it should not be done in a very, rigid or in a very vigilant way. We don't have to be always in a hierarchy position. Of course, we are in a hierarchy position when we are communicating with our child, but it has to be done in a very uh, collaborative process, in a very flexible manner, so that it feels like we are on the same team rather than we are on a different team altogether. So, before we even communicate the things to our children, the first thing that we can do to our children is connect. And many times, what happened, we wanted to tell the things to the children. You should be doing this or you should be doing that, but we don't connect with them. So, in any situation, when parents find themselves in a turbulent of emotions, when they don't know what to do, it's important for the parent to stay very calm, very grounded in the face at the face of adversity, and connect with the children before they communicate the things out in the world and out to the children as well. So this connection is the root key. Is the support or the base with which you will be able to communicate with the things out to your children, and not just you are communicating things out to your children. Your children will also be able to, say the things out to you, inshallah. So that connection is very important. It's very central piece of tarbiyah. So it's important to connect with your child at the outset. Now, I'll just give you a situation. We won't be taking any questions, or we won't be taking any answers. Rather, you can use your chat box to let me know what would you do in this situation. Your son failed in an exam, and you hear the news. Begin by checking in with yourself. How are you feeling? So your son has failed. Nauzubillah, we don't want our son to fail. But let's just say such situation arises. You don't know what to do. What would be your step ahead? So I would like to know, if I'll just give a minute, inshallah, and then if somebody wants to use the chat box, they can let me know what would be their uh, situation. Am I audible? Is my voice is breaking, dear sister?
No, no, it's clear, sister.
So anybody who wants to take a time, maybe 1 minute, to ponder upon the question that has been stated there. So let me know how would you react when you come across that situation. Here is the question. We can use this cue as it being connected first and then communicating the things out.
What was the question, please?
Or yeah, you can just I can just give you a minute to ponder upon the question, and then we have to move ahead. Okay, what we can do, we can reflect on the question. Meanwhile, I can just go ahead with the presentation. So this is the question, that somehow we find ourselves in a position where our son has failed in an exam, and when we get to hear the news, what should we be doing first? Comply on this part where we are connecting with our children first before communicating. If we are following this rule, how we should be reacting to the situation. So, Sister Asia mentioned, before one snaps at child, encourage him that it is not the end of the world and there is a room for improvement. Absolutely. So, Sister Bibia is little concerned and would little disappointed. Yes, absolutely. So, yeah, it's a disappointment phase. Definitely, it's a disappointment phase for sure. So, what we can do? we can step away to calm down and gather our thoughts, whatever muddle of thoughts we are gathering, or even whatever emotions we are feeling. As one of the sisters mentioned, she would be disappointed. It's all right to feel. It's completely natural to feel such situations, such emotions. If you are calm, when you hear the news, begin by checking in with your son about how. So the first step was to calm oneself down and gather our thoughts. And the second step, which we always omit and which we don't ponder upon much, is also checking in how our son or our daughter is feeling during the situation. It's uh, it's him who are in the position of failing, right? It's his situation, and we don't even check in with him. So what happens? We are we are not congregating, or connecting with our child's emotions, and when we don't connect and communicate, then we are not on the same wavelength. We are not on the same page, and there the problem begins. So first, as we are checking in with ourselves, check how your son feels, reflect upon his emotional state, what you sense about the situation, and after checking in, you process using curiosity questions. We will be talking about curiosity questions later. So you ask him, what can you do to improve your performance in this class? I would rather say, instead of using the word you, we can use the word we. So when you put him in your team, it will be much more like a collaborative process, and he will feel like that he is not alone. He have your back, and whatever mistakes or whatever weaknesses that he had endured during giving the exam, it can be improved. This is not the end of the world, as one of the sisters mentioned. Absolutely. So make it much more like a collaborative process or a learning process. Absolutely, we can learn from our mistakes, from our shortcomings, inshallah. So that teamwork need to be built, and that teamwork will give him a lot of clarity regarding how to move forward with his weaknesses. So when we don't do that, when we just shout, or when we just raises questions in a very dominancy manner, so that becomes very difficult for the child to process his own emotions as well. So this is the step we can follow next time when we are in such situation where child is messing up with you. We can take or we can follow these steps, inshallah. Moving ahead, this is one of the uh, hand handy tool, we can say, that we can follow when our child is in a position of a huge uh, in an uncertain situation, or when the child is very angry and he himself doesn't know what to do in a situation. So this handy tool will help your children to understand his emotions, and when you give him this choice, it will make him feel that he can take his own decision. There's a sense of autonomy that will be inculcated, and he will be able to make a better decision. So, what we need to do over here is we have to create a wheel of anger. Wheel of anger means whenever the child feels angry or in a burst of emotion where he could not able to process the feelings, he can, you know, choose from this wheel. So maybe he can say "Auzu billah," or he can read a surah with him, or we can share feelings with you, or the child can also draw his or her feelings onto a paper. It will be more like a catharsis process, that emotion will be pent out on a paper. Or we can go on a meeting. Similarly, other options are there. So instead of throwing tantrums, instead of releasing the anger in a very worse manner, we can channelize it in a better way, and the child will be able to make choices for himself in a better way. And secondly, the child would know what to do when he feels such intense emotion. So next time he will be independently able to deal with his emotions. So what we can take a screenshot of this wheel of anger. You can create this wheel of anger with your child and paste it on the wall. And anytime you feel your child is indecisive of certain situation, you can ask your child to come up and choose whatever he wants to do. And these are a healthy way to release emotions. That can be done, inshallah. So, what are you bringing to the dinner table? Just give me a minute. Sister. Just give me a minute. Yes. Now, as we know, dinner time is a time when children or even the family members they join together. Like a special time when family members gather together, talk over the things, what they did throughout the day, and communicate their feelings. So similarly, what we can do, we can ask a child when at the end of the day occurs, or maybe during any time when you feel like you will be able to communicate with your children, you ask how his day was and what was the one emotion that he had felt throughout the day. It could be happy, it could be calm. So when you ask a child about his emotions and also help him to dig deeper regarding what made him happy or what made him feel calm, it will help the child to understand his emotions. Similarly, what we did for the wheel of anger, the child will be able to access his own emotions, and that he can do not just now, but when he'll become a more younger or elder individuals, they will be able to perform this task of assessing emotions better. Most of the time, what happens when these individuals, when children, they grew up and they don't know how to assess the emotions because they were not given the space to do so. So in this manner, we will be able to give them the opportunity to understand their emotions. So let's say if the child says, I'm feeling very happy today. So is it because he did good in exam today, or is it because he had been kind to his friend today? Is it because somebody gave him a chocolate today? So he will be able to recognize those emotions and give a meaning to it. So this is also a chart that can be used, and you can also share it uh, with your children, and you can stick it on your wall. This is going to be very helpful and very beneficial. And I must recommend the parents to do this for their children, inshallah. Now, uh, so children many a times they show certain behaviors which are very unclear. We don't know why they are behaving that way. We don't know all of a sudden why our child started shouting. We just don't know. And since these behaviors are very unclear to us, we don't know how to respond to it. As as a mother, as a father, we feel very helpless during such times, and we don't know what to do about it. We question ourselves: Are we doing our parenting in a right manner? So it is not about your parenting style that is causing hindrance, but it's something about the behavior, something behind the behaviors that is happening, which we are completely unaware of. So the children, they do communicate to us through these behaviors. They wanted to say something unconsciously without even their knowledge. They wanted to say something. We might feel they are showing tantrums or misbehaving, but it is through these behaviors they express their needs. So let's just crack the code today, like what could be the possible reason behind those behaviors. And what we can do, we can go through these cases, inshallah, one by one, and we will try to understand what is happening to the children mentioned over here. So I'll read the case number one. So Joe wants to play with father. He seems to be busy with an urgent call. He plays with his brother. Joe started to bang his bat loudly. Dad says, play quieter. Joe seems quiet and again started to bang his bat and then whines that his brother is cheating. So, why do you think the child is behaving like that? And what need you think he wanted to be fulfilled. So, we can use, I'll just give it to 1 minute to any guesses? Why do you think the child is behaving in this manner? So let's just move ahead. So mostly what happens uh, when your child wants your attention and they wanted you solely, they wanted your presence solely, they show such behaviors. So they wanted to emphasize that I belong only by being noticed, even if it makes problem for dad and mom. So they know if if they behave in this manner, I know it's going to cause problem to my mom and dad. But once they notice me that I do exist and they cater to my needs, then I feel fulfilled and then I feel belong over here. So the main motive behind this attention, why do you think they are showing they wanted that attention? Because they want to feel connected. We don't get to the part, we don't understand, they want to feel connected. And we just see that they are behaving in an irrational manner rather than understanding the language behind it. So this is the what can be done over here. Inshallah, we will decode that as well later. Let's just read case 2. The Sandra wants to visit her friend's house with this weekend, but her mom reminds her of the outing plan she made with her dad last week. Sandra refuses to listen and says, I can do what I want, where I want to go. So here, Sandra wants power. When Sandra says, I can do whatever I want, here Sandra feels belong by being the boss. Even if it's causing fight between me and my mom or dad, I want to fight with them. I want to have that power. So they are looking for power. And why do you think they are looking for the power? Because they want to feel capable. They feel that I am capable enough to make my own decisions. I need to make the decisions of my life. Give me the choices. And of course, many times we cannot do that, right? So what can be done over here? We will definitely talk about it. What we can do when they show such behaviors, inshallah. So for Sandra here, she wants to have the power. Let's go back and understand the case 3. Cindy wants to go on a school trip and went up to her father to seek permission. Her father reprimanded her to go. She felt hurt, sad, and angry. Next time, when her father requested her to accompany him for an outing, she blatantly refused. And Cindy here also showing something over here. Yes. So Cindy here feels that she is she is unlovable and I only belong by hurting my mom and dad. I want them to feel hurt too. Because sh- her emotions, has not been given validation by her parents. She felt hurt, right? And nobody was there to validate her feelings. Nobody counted her when what decision she should be making. Nobody was there to make her feel good. So what she now is trying to emphasize that I want to give a revenge to my father. I wanted to make them feel hurt so that they know how I am feeling. And these are the signs. Literally, it might sound little absurd, but this is something that happens behind. They feel so. It is not harm for us to validate their feelings, but it should be done in a right manner. So in case 4, let's say Sean. Now, let's see what Sean is going through. Sean has just joined a basketball coach. He is struggling to play the game and told his mother, nobody wants me in the team. I can't shoot well. I can't hold on to the ball. I will never be good at this. Now, what happens? Sean can't do a task and he feels very disheartened because he can't do it, and he feels very uh, low. He had a very low self confidence at this moment. Now he wanted to feel belong by making his dad or mom emphasize that he can't do things, and no matter how much I try, I won't be able to do it. I feel feel so he just wanted to be in his comfort zone. He don't want to get out of it. He is displaying a sense of inadequacy in him. So what we can do here, let's just focus on what he is looking for. He need to know that he he is okay, and he needs small help from his parents. He want her parents to push a little, a nudge, maybe a nudge from the back would help, and that will help him to do his task effectively. We need to know that I am okay, and help me building courage. So here the child wants her parents to build the courage because he couldn't able to do for himself. Now, as we will understand the cases, as we will go ahead with the solution of it, I want you to just be there for 1 minute and understand what you read, or just reflect the uh, four miscommunication or misbehavior that occurred. So here, the first thing what the child was doing, the child was lacking connection, and that's why she is looking for attention. So what we can do over here, we can ignore the misbehaviors because they will be misbehaving, because no matter what sort of attention, even if it is a negative attention, the shout from the parents or the bit from the parents, no matter what uh, the attention that they are going to receive, it is not bothering them. What they are looking for at that moment is the attention. So what we can do, we can ignore the misbehaviors and praise the behaviors which are positive in nature. So you can say, I appreciate how you sat quietly and waited until I finished to ask a question. So many times what happens when a child comes to you and they show you a diagram they made or drawing they did. So we don't praise them much. We say, yeah, we just shy them off and we say like, it was good. But when they are misbehaving, then that draws our attention, and we try to say things to them which are very harsh in nature. So what we are doing, we are reinforcing their negative behavior while we are not successful enough to praise their or reinforce their positive behaviors. And there lacks the problem, there lacks the communication. So what we can do, we can help them to connect with us by praising the positive behaviors. And they will be able to gradually understand what action, what behavior should I be performing in order to get the attention from my parents. Next, what Sandra was going through, she wanted power from her parents. Now, they what we can do, we first have to try to reflect, connect, and respectfully validate what our children are feeling at that time. So we can say, I'm noticing you seem frustrated and those feelings are okay. What can we do to help that feeling? So here you're sitting with a child with his or her feelings, and you're trying to understand the child. You're giving them the opportunity to open up and talk about it. And then you can also communicate your perspective, and then you can, make it very much clear that it feels like we are not understanding each other at this moment. Let's just take a pause, and then we try to understand and connect here, and then we can go ahead with what we are feeling. So first we reflect, then connect, then we communicate our perspective, and lastly you make it very clear. So if you are looking for power, power is not cheap. It does not come in a free manner. With power comes the responsibility. So you have given your word to your father, right? Like you wanted to go with him first, and that is a responsibility too. And this is such an important tool, I must tell all the parents over here, because this will help the child not just to gain power or gain the freedom, but it will also help the child to be aware of their own responsibility. So, this mixture of power and responsibility is very crucial for the children also to develop taqwa as well. Because when we are helping the child to understand whatever action they are taking, there will be consequences, and the God is, looking at you. If you are changing your answers or tweaking your answers, it is not going to pass away. It is not going to just be wiped or swept under the carpet. Allah is watching you. So this is very important, and this tool is very important to make them understand. Of course, they are capable of taking their decisions. Of course, they have the power, but there is a consequence too, and that need to be pondered upon. So for the Cindy, we remember the time when uh, she doesn't want her to go because her father didn't allow her to go to a friend's house. So here also acknowledge the hurt because she is hurt. She is hurt because her father didn't allow her. And these are very hidden feelings. It won't be emerged at the outset because her father does not know that the child is hurt by some reason. So it's important to acknowledge the hurt, and by reflecting and validating these feelings, we can go ahead saying this to the children. Seems like you're feeling hurt by something, and I'm here if you would like to talk about it. Because honestly speaking, the father does not know the why Cindy doesn't want to go with him. Right. So this clarification, this space that we give our child to express their feelings is very important. And then we can let them know, of course you're feeling hurt. We can come up with an alternative ways to respond to it. So we can say, I noticed that you are very sad after not being allowed to go on a trip. Help me with that. So I can understand that you are feeling sad, but let's say what we can do over here. So that is a good way to just turn the table from the revenge to validation, which is very important. So in case of Sean as well, the Sean was displaying a sense of inadequacy. The child Sean feels like he won't be able to achieve anything, and he always needed from uh, back push, you can say, from either mother or the father. So when we feel sorry, the child also feels sorry for himself. So when we make the child feel like I can understand it's very bad that you can't do it. The child also feels sorry for him. So what else we can do? Here we can help them to point out their strengths. What are the strengths they do have? Maybe he is not good at shooting, maybe he's not good at sports, but he could be good at drawing, or maybe he's good at writing. So we don't acknowledge these efforts of his much. So how would we know that he can do better? So empower them for trying by focusing on their strengths and efforts, and notice what the other task he can do swiftly. That will bring his attention to himself and his own efforts, and that will boost his self confidence. More rather, more like a self efficacy will also be boosted. Self efficacy is a feeling that I am capable of doing certain tasks. So when you build that feeling in small amount in that child, the child will be able to perform better. And also, you are helping the child to break down the steps. Let's say, for example, you want the child himself wants to memorize Quran, but he couldn't able to do so. So what we can do over here? Shall we ask our child to leave that? Shall we feel sorry for not doing so? Shall we do that? Of course not, right? So what we can do, we can ask the child to start from the last para, from the last just, and we can start by learning small surah. So we are breaking down our task. So every task, every surah, he will be able to accomplish memorizing. We celebrate that. Help him to celebrate his success. It's very important. We don't celebrate a child success enough. We don't make them feel good enough. So, in a small in a very small manner, we can break down the task and we can then help the child to learn. And in a very gradual manner, he will be able to do so. And that support that you are going to give him is going to last longer than you could ever imagine. So, break the task into smaller units. That will help him definitely. So, just take a moment. Just scan your room. This is particularly for the parents. Just scan your room on anything that you feel, any object you feel will help you to ignite your emotions for your children. Reflect upon it. Maybe it could be a ball, maybe it could be your child's shoe that reminds you of an incident. So just I'll just give 2 minutes to reflect on it, and then you can answer us in the chat box itself. Anything that you find in your room at this moment, once you scan your room, anything that reminds your connection with your child, you can write it in the chat box. Inshallah, we will get back to that part once we are done with the uh, presentation. We will get back to. So some of the effective tools that we can use to communicate with our children, inshallah. Now, mirroring. I want everyone to understand what a mirror does. If you stand in front of the mirror, you will be able to see yourself. You will be able to see your expressions, right? So adults are like a mirrors for the children. If they are parents or children, they uh, they are they act like a mirror for the children. So they see themselves through their eyes, and it's very important how we are mirroring our uh, emotions. It plays a very big impact on the children as well. So so mirroring, as mentioned over here, is simply reflecting back to your children their emotions and their behaviors. So let's say how we can do that. We can ask certain questions, we can ask, "Hey Sadia, hello Sadia." So maybe Sadia is your child, for example. So you seem to be sad. What happened? So that sort of clarity. So Sadia might be sad, but Sadia is not aware of it. So when you become mirror for your child and you make them understand and acknowledge their emotions, child will be able to inculcate that meaning, that feeling, and they will be able to inter-reflect on their selves. So when you are saying, "Hey child, that you feel sad or you feel happy," so you're helping your child to acknowledge their emotions. So that is very important. We can say when your child did something good, you can say, "Wow, mashallah, you did a great job today. It looks like your organizational or your planning skills are improving day by day." The child was not aware of his or her organizational or planning skills, but once you mirror them, they will be able to do so from now onwards. So you are helping your child to understand their emotions. Okay. Now the I messages. I messages are very useful. It works like wonder. So here you are not putting burden on the child, and by making him feel like you are responsible for something, Rather, you take the burden on yourself and you say you feel worried about something because it might harm the other person, it might harm the child. So, for example, let's say the floor is wet and the child is playing, and you don't want it to say, you will, you will get hurt. Or why are you playing on the floor? Don't you see the floor is hurt? Floor is wet. So we don't want to we don't want to communicate our feelings like that. Rather, what we can do, we can make some changes in our sentences. We can pick in between and say, I feel worried because you might get slip and get hurt because the floor is wet. So I messages are very important. The child won't feel attacked when you use I messages. The child won't feel it is something about me, it's rather something about the other person, and they will try to rationalize the situation. So once you are giving them logic behind your feeling, they will also feel rationalized about the situation. So I messages are very important and it really works like a wonder. The curious question I have mentioned earlier as well when we were talking about how we can stay calm and keep our composure very uh, calm in a very calm manner, and how we can approach our child. So in that situation as well, curious question also works like a wonder. So many times we want to tell things to our children, right? We wanted to uh, emphasize what should be done, what should not be done. So here we want to doing that because when we do so, it creates lot of resistance. It creates a wall because you're just telling the things out without asking child to say something on their behalf. So let's say the child is not doing the homework and it's going to be end of the day, and they still haven't done their homework. So instead of telling them go do your homework, you can come up with a curious question like, what does your routine chart say? It needs to be happening right now, right? So instead of just telling them the things, you to make it look like there is something not done and how we can do it together. That can be done, inshallah. So there's another example I can give where the child has a fight with the with the with a friend of his, and and he came up to you and said that he had a fight. So you most probably would be telling him, why you had a fight with him. He's your friend. You should not be fighting. But a curious question would make a different notion out of it. Curious question would be rephrased as, your Ahmed is your friend and he's a good friend of yours, but why do you think today you had a fight? So you need to know the purpose behind it, and then the child will open up, and then the child will speak up. For what? For what? For what reason he had a fight? So that curious question, that curiosity need to be built while communicating with the child. Along with some communicative tools, we can also use some activity tools. So allowance is one of the positive parenting tool that can be used to help the children to understand and be independent on their own. So what we can do, it's a stipend, it's some money that we give to the child, and we are not here to spoil our children. It has to have some rules definitely. So allowance will help the children to manage money, so they can buy anything from it that they desire, but the condition they cannot ask the same thing from their parents. So if I'm giving you the money and they wanted to buy something irrespective, or apart from their basic needs, if they wanted to buy a toy, they can buy it from the allowance given to them. And why do you think it is important? It is important to build that caliber where they can manage money, where they can understand the importance of money, because we don't teach about finance to our children. And when they grow up, they don't know how to manage their money. So this is one of the tools that will help you to aid your child to manage money, to make uh, things in a better manner, to buy things in a better way. What are the things that they should be buying, they should not be buying? That is possible through this allowance. Also, there is this complement circle. So this is a meetup that every family should have at the end of the month. Here it's a compliment circle where all of the members will sit together and will try to say something positive about another member. So many times in what happens, we sit together and we say wrong things about ourselves. So we don't want to put an impression to our children where we are saying wrong stuff about other person. Rather, we are going to create an environment where the child would sit with the other family members and talk something good about other. And it's very rare thing to do, but this will help the child to foster a positive focus in the family, and it will help them to shift their mind from the problems. And when they will talk about something positive, there will be a lot of barakah from Allah as well. As we know that when we sit together and talk about Allah, the farishtas they came down and they take a proper note of it. So similar manner, when we do these activities, it will help the children talk something good, not just about for themselves, but for the others as well. And this boost of positive energy is going to last a longer than we could imagine. So this is something that you can incorporate in your children. And lastly, we are one team. So I have also mentioned this. It's very important to make your child feel that we are in a one team. When we shout or when we make them feel bad about themselves, so they feel that we are in a different team altogether. My parents are not with us. We don't want to make them feel that we are on a different team. So every problem they are facing, every difficulties they are facing, they always have our back, and we can solve the problem together. No matter whatever weaknesses we are facing, whatever shortcomings we are facing, there is always something to do about it. And it's very important to make them feel through communicative pattern that we are building with our children. So everyone has responsibilities. Parents go to work and children go to school. But at the end of the day, when they come together and have a dinner and have a talk and they talk about their emotions and they talk about what happened to school, what happened to work, we give them a space to talk about the feelings. We give them space to understand themselves better. So this is one of the good way to build a happy household for our children. So this is all about today. There will be inshallah part 2 where we will be talking about more communicative tools. We'll be talking about how we can utilize the tools to build the self-confidence of our children. How after understanding the situations or after understanding the mechanism behind the behaviors, what else we can do to foster a happy household. Inshallah. So so we are also providing counseling. You can keep a screenshot of this picture. Inshallah, I will be providing counseling through ICFI platform. So if anybody who are in need of counseling or who is going through some sort of stress, relationship issues, communication issues, or wanted counseling for a personal growth or skill development, definitely can contact me for sure. So I will be just sharing my screen. If you have any question that you wanted to ask, can go ahead, inshallah. Yes, Komal, you wanted to say something?
Assalamu alaikum. Can I ask in Urdu or in English language?
Whichever language suits you, sister, you can go ahead.
Okay. एक्चुअली मैं ये पूछना चाह रही हूँ कि मेरे बच्चे छोटे हैं ना दोनों, एक बेटा 2.5 साल का है और बेटी 3.5 साल की है, ठीक है। दोनों की आपस में बहुत फाइटिंग होती है एक दूसरे को ना, मीन्स कि एक चीज़ होती है कोई, तो वो दोनों ने कि अगर दोनों को चाहिए तो वो दोनों एक दूसरे को या तो बाइट करेंगे या जो है वो थप्पड़ मारेंगे या बाल खींचेंगे, मतलब मीन्स दिन में इनकी कोई 10 दफा यानी लड़ाई होती है बार बार। तो उस टाइम में मीन्स के मैं ये चाह रही हूँ कि इस तरह से मैं इंटरवीन करूँ कि दोनों को जो है वो उसमें इनफीरियॉरिटी कॉम्प्लेक्स में न जाए, मतलब उस सूरत में कैसे डील किया जाए। मतलब बजाय
जी
कि येलिंग करने के या मीन्स एक को ज़्यादा जो है वो डांटने के, दूसरे को ज़्यादा काम करने के, मीन्स बेस्ट सिचुएशन क्या है
यस
डील करने की?
इंशाल्लाह. Yes, Jazakallah khairan for asking this question, and it's very natural, कि हम जब दो बच्चे को देखते हैं फिर they usually they fight. So what we can do over here, it requires lot of counseling, sister. Like I need to know the reason behind why they are doing it. So a counseling session would help definitely. But I'll just give you an example. What happens when one child uh, a newborn child become a family member. Now the other child, who might be a toddler, who might be just 4 or 5 years old, they feel little bit distant from the family itself. They feel I was getting all the attention, but now I am not getting so much of attention. Now there's another member. So what we can do, you can ask the child to do, the small child to do some of the work for the younger one. मान लेते हैं जैसे आप उस बच्चे को यू नो खाना खिला रही, तो you help them to build that bond by asking the elder one to bring the food, और आप उसको इन्वॉल्व करें, उसके कामों में उसको इन्वॉल्व करें ताकि उसको भी इंक्लूडेड फील हो. यूजुअली बहुत टाइम क्या होता है कि जब वो इंक्लूडेड फील नहीं करते तो उन्हें बहुत परेशानी होती है कि माय मदर इज नॉट विथ मी, माय मदर इज नॉट लविंग मी एनी मोर. तो जब आप उनको इंक्लूड करोगे उसके उस छोटे बच्चों के कामों में, तब उसे भी इंक्लूडेड फील होगा और बेहतर फील होगा, और उसे लगेगा नहीं, मम्मा हैज नॉट फॉरगेट मी, शी स्टिल रिमेम्बर्स मी, शी लव्स मी, एंड आई एम ऑल्सो रिस्पॉन्सिबल एल्डर ब्रदर और एल्डर सिस्टर. तो उसको भी ना अच्छा फील होगा. तो आप इस तरीके से उसको छोटे बच्चों के कामों में, छोटे बच्चे का जो भी काम है, आप उसको बड़े बच्चे को इन्वॉल्व करें, तो उसे भी एक एक सेंस ऑफ बिलोंगिंगनेस वाला फील होगा. इससे इससे हम शुरुआत कर सकते हैं, बट आई नीड टू नो द डिटेल्स कि क्यों और ये कब ऐसा करते हैं, what आर द triggering point which is making the child feel so. Inshallah, counseling session would definitely help.
ट्रिगरिंग पॉइंट जो होता है ना, ये होता है कि एक की चीज़ अगर दूसरे ने पकड़ ली है ना, ठीक है, तो उससे जो है वो स्टार्ट हो जाएगी इनकी लड़ाई। मीन्स ज़्यादा यही रीज़न बनती है, कोई एक चीज़ है दोनों को चाहिए वो वाली चीज़, तो उससे फिर लड़ाई होती है, ज़्यादा तो यही चीज़ बनती है।
हम्म. तो वही आती है सिबलिंग राइवलरी वाली थोड़ी बात आ जाती है. तो आप उन्हें अगर वो चीज़ दो है तब डेफिनेटली उनमें बांट दिया करें, अगर वो चीज़ नहीं है तो आप ले लिया करें. तो इससे क्या
ठीक,
होगा कि उन लोगों को उस चीज़ की में लड़ाई नहीं होगी इंशाल्लाह.
वो चीज़ तो मैं अवॉइड करती हूँ। मीन्स आप देखें इन दोनों की अपनी अपनी साइकिल थी, ठीक है, एक की साइकिल टूट गई है, अब दूसरे की साइकिल है वो नज़र आती है इनको, वो हालांकि वो भी मैंने छुपा दी थी कि इनको नज़र ना आए, लेकिन वो एक ने जिद करके ले ली कि मेरी साइकिल किधर है, फिर अब उससे ज़्यादा उससे लड़ाई हो रही है आजकल इनकी। तो एक की टूट गई है और दूसरा जो है कि मेरी गायब ना हो, मेरे सामने रही, तो वो जब उस पर बैठता है तो वो कहती है कि ये मेरी है, इस पे मैंने बैठना है।
हाउ ओल्ड दे आर सिस्टर्स, कितने बड़े हैं?
2.5 साल का बेटा है और 3.5 साल की बेटी है।
हम्म. तो यस डेफिनेटली आप उनको अगर ये बच्चों की काउंसलिंग हो सकती है, through play therapy or through some other ways, we can able to understand what is the underlying emotions which is making the kid, the the elder one feel so. ठीक है, अगर काउंसलिंग सेशन करते हैं इंशाल्लाह कभी, तो इसमें ज़रूर पता कर सकते हैं कि उसके अंडरलाइंग इमोशंस, अगर गुस्से भी होता है तो उसके पीछे क्या रीज़न है। वी कैन नॉट जस्ट मेक द थिंग आउट अभी ऐसा कि बच्चों को ऐसे ही फील होता होगा। देयर कुड बी सो मेनी अदर रीजंस एज वेल। तो उससे इंशाल्लाह पता कर सकते हैं कि वो अंडरलाइंग फीलिंग क्या है, एंड देन हम उसको इंटरवीन कर सकते हैं बेटर तरीके से। पर अब ऐसा कर सकते हैं कि आप उनकी जो अच्छी मोमेंट्स है ना, उसको आप रेनफोर्स करें। अगर दोनों एक साथ कुछ अच्छा काम करते हैं, आप उसको प्रेज़ करें, आप उसमें ज़्यादा बढ़ावा दें। जो बुरी चीज़ होती है, यू इग्नोर देम, बट ज़्यादा जो उन लोग दोनों एक साथ कर रहे होते हैं, एंड यू प्रेज़ देम, यू गिव देम और यू मेक देम फील बेटर एंड गुड कि ये दोनों एक साथ चीज़ें कर रहे हैं। सो दैट कैन बी हेल्पफुल इंशाल्लाह।
यस, जज़ाकल्लाह खैर।
वालेकुम सिस्टर। Anybody else?
I just, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa
Walaikum
barakatuh. I'm
salam.
Aisha. I have a small input for Sister Komal that definitely it's not an easy thing, and because the gap between both the children is less like 1 year. But I think their kids are very small yet, 3.5 and 2.5. So what I feel is we need to exercise a lot of patience. And this is a phase of there will be a bit of a jealousy between the siblings, very mild one, and it's not a bad jealousy, it's that positive one. They just want the attention from their mother and attention from one another. But yeah, alhamdulillah, that's my input. I think we need to exercise patience on that.
Yes, absolutely. Jazakallah khairan, Sister Aisha. Absolutely. And you're doing a great job, Sister Komal, for being such an amazing mother. You should give yourself a mental pad for being in this situation, for dealing things so effectively. Jazakallah khairan, everyone. Jazakallah khairan for asking the question now. So I'm gonna end the session by a dua. Subhanakallahumma bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Sister Fatima, over to you.